What's up, Juventini? Welcome back to the AJC, your channel dedicated to the one and only Vecchia Signora, our beautiful club, the best damn club in the world, Juventus, all right? And, of course, it's match day, Juve Venezia. There's a ton to talk about in the aftermath from the game against City, the build-up to this one against Venezia. Things are trending in the right direction, and we're happy to finally be able to talk about that. And I'm very, very happy to have Lex with me today rocking this show. Good morning, Lex. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm ready to rock. And I see everyone in there's like, oh, Lex, is she ever on time? I will back her on this. Lucci. Lucci has the worst record for showing up on time, okay? He is the absolute worst, okay? And yeah, it's fashionably late. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's good.
Thank
Let's go
you.
with
Thank
that. Now, listen, we have announcements to talk about. This is for Juventini that are in North America and even those that are looking to come over for the Club World Cup. All right, so we've got announcements on that. We've got news around some of our players, some of the young guys, all right? And then, of course, we've got to take a look at some of that aftermath from the City game. And then we're going to get to the business at hand today. The business that has to be 3 points, okay? And we've been saying that in league. But today, I can't stress it enough, okay? And we're going to see if FC25 can go 2 for 2 this week on predictions. I didn't like their prediction for this one, but it's still a win, so I'll take it. But we'll go through it all right now. So first up, we have those North American announcements, okay? So we're going to take care of business here. The first thing is that there apparently is a North American fan tour that's going to be going down in North America. So far, though, there is one date, one event that's been posted. It's going to be out of Houston, okay? So Houston has a massive academy, a huge academy for Juventus. I think some of that is going to be shedding a light on that, but this is really like a fanfare. The first dates, January 18th and 19th in Houston. The J Village, they're calling it, okay? Will be located at the British International School of Houston. And I think it's going to be, I don't have the details on the event or everything, but I would definitely expect, if they're going to do something like this, that there's going to be some characters around the Juve world that are involved. Okay, so I would probably imagine you're going to see some ex-players. Because of it being January 18th, 19th, I wouldn't expect anything from current, but maybe you get a guy like Chiellini, who's involved now in the business side with Juventus. You might get some of those ex-ambassadors of the club that could come around. We saw Trezeguet used to do that. Davids used to do that. Camoranesi used to do that. I'm not saying those are going to be the guys. I'm just saying I would expect something like that, okay? Then we get to the Club World Cup. So the announcement here is that tickets right now, I know that some of you are finding tickets on StubHub that are ridiculously overpriced and everything for the games. That is probably because you're finding PSL holders for those specific stadiums. It doesn't really mean anything. FIFA hasn't even notified anybody that's registered for those tickets. Okay, so that's where it's at for that. But the big news out of yesterday in terms of the tickets for that competition is that if you are a member of a Juventus official fan club, you are going to get first crack on a pre-sale for tickets, okay? So what I'm being told is all JOFC members will be given a code and passed along a code that they in turn plug into the FIFA portal, which will open up a pre-sale. That runs from December 19th to January 21st, okay? So that's how it's going to run. I don't know the details as far as limits on tickets or anything like that, but that's what you're going to get is that pre-sale. And I'm told that it's going to be specific sections for Juve fans that'll be open up to you, so you shouldn't have to worry about where you're at. But again, this is FIFA running it. And, you know, even these Italian lads over there with Juve, I'm just going to say anything can happen. But that's the big thing. Basically, we've always praised the official fan clubs for all the work they do. This is yet another one of the perks, okay? Number one, the camaraderie, the friendship that develops from being part of these official fan clubs. I've made a ton of friends. Shout out to Juve Official Fan Club Vancouver, which I'm a part of. And then you've got the watch parties, which are epic. When you watch a game, do you not want to watch with a ton of Juventini? Let's go. And then, of course, discounts on merch, all that. But the parties, bocce tournaments, indoor soccer matches that they're putting together for the groups, family festivals, barbecues, golf tournaments, Christmas parties. Join your local JOFC. All right? Now, that's the news out of North America. Lex, what are we doing for Club World Cup? I'm looking at Philly and DC. I think those are going to be the two for me. Orlando, bit out of the way to make this happen for me and everything, but Philly and DC looks like the play. Are you going to be able to hit up Club World Cup?
I think so. I'm looking into it with my brother. We're looking at the location, still deciding to, but leaning towards Philly and DC as well. Not
There
just
you
because.
There you go. So, yes, the AJC meetup is well underway. And, of course, as it gets closer, we'll try and work something out to get things fired up so that we can all have some tailgating and everything and have some good times and good vibes. Now, we get to some of the news. Well, first, we got to talk a little bit about this Man City game and the aftermath. And, we noticed just a weird post, like acting like this was the wildest thing to happen. Like, it was just weird to me. Lex, your thoughts on the aftermath of that game and what we were seeing in media?
Yeah, I don't know. It's like you miss out on one season of European football and like everyone just completely forgot. I don't know if it's the recency bias or what, but everyone just completely forgot about Juve. We felt so weird afterwards. As you mentioned, there was that one post you pointed out where it was like Juve beat Man City, let that sink in. 433 posting about us like it was some big shock. Also, the fact that City had been on a really terrible run of form, like up until the game they played against us. So I thought that all of that reaction was even more of an overreaction because I was like, well, are we really that surprised by it? I don't know. Anyways, those are my thoughts on that. Just got to respect Juve and Serie A more overall.
Yeah, and my message yesterday was essentially like it's time for us to make them respect us, if they're not planning on doing it and whatnot, because I don't understand. 3 times we've played them in Champions League, and it's all, in our favor, historically. We've got double the Champions League titles, of course. 4 times the amount of finals reached. 5 times as many domestic league titles. Like, let that sink in. We're a bigger club. Form, whatever you want to talk about. Of course, over the past little bit, Man City's been Man City, but don't treat us like some scrubs. Don't act like Bari all of a sudden showed up in the Champions League and beat City. Heck, it's Juve. Hey, let's kick things off with a day for the media, okay, and how they're acting. Absolute joke, okay? Now, in terms of that game, it's going to mean nothing if we don't follow it up. Now, that was a big game, big moment, great attitude from the team, great organization. We're going to talk about that too leading into this game, but we do have to talk about some news, okay? And you could see it in the header. It's going down. Everybody seems to believe it's going down, and that's Hancko. So we go from hearing that Hancko is off the table, not going to get moved. Yesterday, a little midnight special from Nico Schira. He loves these midnight, Italian time releases on things. And here you go. Hancko has an agreement with Juventus to join. And there's a contract on the table for the player. And apparently it's 35 to 40 million euros to try and lure him from Feyenoord. So this is going to be very, very interesting. Everybody's thinking, well, if that's the price tag, then somebody has got to go. All eyes are on Fagioli. So the Fagioli talk has been going on for some time, And apparently it's a contract to 2029 for Hancko with 2.5 million a year plus bonuses. Obviously plays center back and left back, but they're saying that the Dutch club is asking 35 to 40 million. I've said I wouldn't move Fagioli, okay? Not in January. But I mean, you're going to need some cavalry. Are there no other options? We are adamant, apparently, to not look at free agents, not call anybody back from loan. It makes the most sense positionally to lose somebody out of the midfield that's kind of packed with numbers. I still feel like, I don't know, it's a weird one, but I think there was a sign there against City. If Luiz just got back from injury, so did McKennie, and they both got called in ahead of Fagioli, that he's probably bottom of the pecking order. Locatelli's playing well. Cope Miners, Mota said in his presser, he's struggling to even fathom taking this guy off the pitch based on his intelligence and what he means. Looks like it's going to be Fagioli, Lex. Are you ready to make that move to bring in a guy that could kind of kill two birds with one stone in Hancko, center back and left back coverage?
I understand it. As you mentioned, it does make the most sense for us positionally, and especially in terms of what we need, especially in the back line, because after losing Bremer, we had to find a way to replace him for now. I'm sad to let go of Fagioli. I'm still team Fagioli. I still believe in him. He's still young, and in him like working his way back up. I know you and I spoke about this, I think off camera, Alberto, about kind of the inconsistencies in his performances recently. Some like interesting posts he's made on social media as well. It kind of seems like he's not going through the best of times right now. And I feel for him. I really do. Maybe it's the empathy I have like as a player myself or not, but I really do feel for him. But I understand at the same time that the club also has things that need to get done and they require an output from their players. And if he's at the bottom of Malta's list in terms of the depth chart for midfield, then he's going to be the one that's going to be moved. He's also young and is worth a decent price tag, so he would be able to, like you said, bring in some money to make that move for Hancko.
Yeah. And Antonio Silva, who's been in the news as well, like the latest update from Nico Skira is that he's still in the mix. And it's sounding like Silva doesn't like his position at Benfica in terms of playing time and everything like that. So he's trying to fight for something more. Benfica, according to Nico Skira right now, is reluctant to let him leave, to let him go. So all of this could end up being this posturing thing by Silva in where he turns in terms of where he stands with Benfica. So we don't really know. But, you know, are we looking at getting both of these guys? The bottom line is if you're going to spend money like 35 to 40, you got to bring in some capital. Fagioli's value, 25 million euros is where it's being, placed. I think that's low, but again, it isn't because he just hasn't really hit a form that is primed to move or anything like that. And obviously you've got your not even a season removed from what went down last season in terms of the gambling scandal and everything. So it's just the reality of the situation. We still see pretty much all capital on that. And if you're swinging a deal to 2029 for Hancko, that is going to be at 35 million euros, let's call it. Well, that's going to be divvied up across that term, right? So if you're going to go from 2025 of January to 2029, you take 35 divided by 4, less than 10 mil is what you're going to have to come up with immediately. If you're taking 25 mil in capital on Fagioli, it is going to practically almost all be capital. Yeah, you're laughing and the rest goes in the books. We also do have to remember the game plan might have been to move somebody mid-season all along. It might have been the game plan all along. If we look at Juve transfers, okay, this past summer, and the amount that we spent was, 163.8 million, I believe. I could be slightly off there. 164.8 million. And in terms of what was brought in, it was 103.5. So you had a big gap there too, even in that work. And again, more capital had to be made. This could have been one of the plans all along. Not necessarily with Fagioli, but somebody, right, is going through this part of the season, see who integrates the best in terms of Motta's game, and then make a move, make a decision, right? Like that could have been the play all along.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, you still have to do some work financially. In terms of Fagioli, like I said, I'd like to see him get a season in there, but it doesn't look like in Motta's eyes he's going to kind of get a lot of those shots or enough of those shots. And I can't help but think of what Luca said the other day on the post-match of City. You feel like his time, he had his chance with the injuries. You know, Colt Miners was out for a bit. Taram wasn't locking in there. And yeah, he had his moments. And then you had the injuries to Louise. You had an injury to McKennie as well. And he just could never cement himself. You know, so I think maybe that's kind of what Juve was waiting for with some of these guys, was just seeing who was going to take to Motta's game. So one way or another, we need help at the back in January. That's a must. And I don't think anyone's going to disagree with that. You got to pick somebody.
Yeah.
And you got to move somebody. These other guys that just came in when they were hurt and everything, and it was like, sell these guys. You're definitely not going to get the capital on a guy that came in year one as opposed to what you're going to get out of Fagioli. You don't necessarily gain something. So I understand it. I don't necessarily like the timing of it, but I would understand it. That's just kind of where I'm at. It's one of these things where I get it. I don't necessarily like it at this moment in time.
Agreed.
Is
Completely.
what it is. We got to get rolling. We got to look after the group, and the group needs some cavalry. Danilo with that game against Man City out of nowhere.
Wow. Yeah.
I saw some comments about renewing. Okay, let's pump the brakes. Okay, let's pump the brakes here. We don't need to get crazy, okay? It was a great performance from him. I love the words he said afterwards, okay? Renewal, though? No. All signs are pointing to a goodbye in the summer. Napoli, one of the teams interested, and Fenerbahce trying to pick him up on a free. I do appreciate Danilo's words. Captain doesn't leave midway through the season. He sees himself like that. That's great. He is, when he's out there on the pitch and whatnot, still rocking the armband. It's all good. And it gives us less work to do in January. Okay? Gives us less work to do in January. So it's fine.
Can't afford
One
to
of the
lose.
things, though, that game, it played to his hand. I talked about it. It was better for him. Low line, you know, the pace doesn't come into question. Like, everything's in front of him. Did a good job. One of the things about that game, that's not Motta's style, right? I like the fact that we could do so and get it done, organized with the right intensity and aggression and attitude. But now today, you're going to see something completely different. Completely different. And that's where he's got to dial it in. But before we get to that game, we'll talk about some other players that had good matches. Savona was in the talk. Obviously, the highlight of the video yesterday at Daily Update is just we could have something very, very special on our hands with Savona. But everybody keeps highlighting his offensive fumbles, etc. and whatnot. For me, I'm looking at it different. Like, I'm totally looking, the glass ain't half full there. It's almost like it's 3/4 full with him, and he's just got to sort out confidence in the final third. But some people are just like, no, there's a lot to go there. I'm like, just take a look at Rui, on the other hand, who's less than a year younger than Savona, and how much work he has to do in comparison. And I think that tells you we got a hell of a base level with Savona here. Kvara, Leao, Doku, like, Lex, your thoughts on Savona here? We got a gem, or?
I think we've got a gem. I agree with you. It's interesting. I remember other pre-match pods where we've talked about like potential starting lineups, and we've always, brought up the question, okay, Savona. Is Savona in your 11? When we faced Napoli, when we faced Milan, when we faced City, and every time he's done the job. I think he's been like fantastic. I thought it was funny. He also kind of went viral there for locking up Doku because he broke the age thing. He's the younger age, so they're like, oh, check the age of Doku's fullback. So I thought that was funny. I'm like, oh, look, Savona getting some mainstream attention. But no, I think he's honestly been very good for us. I totally agree. Gem in the making, like, shout out to him. He's still very young. Lots of potential there.
Yeah, and the thing with the offensive phase is like it's not that bad when he gets up there. We've seen him play some beautiful crosses in, some that should have been equal to goals that his teammates did not bury, which I think on a couple should have. Regardless of that, he's not that bad offensively. He's got a couple goals to his name, gets involved on some plays. Like, it's just more of a confidence thing that I think once he gets in there. For a 21-year-old though, like, I mean, out of nowhere this season, let's be happy. Be happy, everybody. It's okay to be happy. Yes, he still has to polish things out, but guess what? We got some guys older than him that still have some polishing to do. God.
We're always asking for fullbacks. Everybody always wants those fullbacks. We've been begging for them, and now we've got Savona,
We got a
Cambiaso.
bricklayer that's like 26, 27 years old that needed a hell of a lot more polishing last season. And you know what? This season, he's doing good too. And Gatti, what a game against City.
That was. I just used the "You've been Gatti" meme. Like, that was all I was tweeting after.
I like the one where he was laying the brick wall in front of Holland. I liked that one. I like the one where he's literally holding this doll. Just AI is a fantastic thing. He's holding a little Holland doll or puppet thing or whatever. I'm like, that is just brilliant. I loved every second of it. Gatti,
amazing.
there's a guy that polished a ton of his game from like last year to this year. He's had a little bit of a rough spell there for a few matches. But again, that's just normal season stuff. Like, guys are going to have these little moments where they kind of take a dip and whatnot. But what a game and what a time to do it against City there. Now, in terms of younger players like Savona we were talking about, we've got Chico. It's Chico's birthday today. All right. So Aguri going out to Conceição, getting rewarded with the start today. It actually doesn't look like it, even on his birthday. Come on, Mota. Come on, man. Guy's birthday. It's okay. It's okay. We'll get to the lineups. But Chico's birthday, there's another young player. And again, we got a young team. It's fun to look at all these names and talents. Yildiz is another one. There are reports today shouting that Juve's set a price tag. They don't want to sell him, but he's got a price tag of 80 million euros. We got to talk about this and just like the prospects of selling Yildiz in general. For me, it's like I don't want to think about. I don't even want to think about it right now, to be honest. But like, let's say a big offer comes in, like 80 million, 90 million in the summer. Like, what's your immediate gut reaction there, Lex?
No.
Yeah, right?
No. Yeah.
Trim's saying 120 and whatnot. I want to like, and I mean, it's crazy to think about the capital that comes on it. Like, it's all pure capital. But at some point, you have to look at the group. You have to look at the overall. You have to think about what you're actually doing. You have to look about what you're building. Like, who are the pillars on this team? So I get it that it's a ton of money. It's a ton of capital. But what are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? Which way are you trying to go? That also does help you at completely like revamping things and everything. The first question I would ask though is, how else could we get a solid chunk of capital? Because you've got to plant the flag on some pillars at some point, you know?
No, it's true. You're like not a transitional club, right? Like, Juve is a peak. Juve is a peak club to reach. You're not like one of those clubs that brings in a player, gets them to perform well, sells them, makes a lot of cash, brings in another unknown guy, maybe like Atalanta, for example. That Juve is the peak. That's the top. So you, at some point, like you said, you've got to keep those players. You've got to plant the flag, and you got to build around something. If you look at it on the flip side, you have a player worth 80 million. That's also very impressive. Doesn't mean you have to sell him. Just the fact he's worth that. There you go.
I know, like, I mean, you look back to values of players that have gone through like Barca's academy, etc. It doesn't mean that they move all those players. Like, they actually haven't for the majority of the big value guys, because at the end of the day, you do have to look at what you're building. And it's not just Barca, but like there's a lot of teams like that, unless you're a stepping stone club that literally builds and sells and just keeps rotating that. And some of those clubs can actually get away with it in their league, but I don't know if we're at that point right now. It's a tough one because it's so much money, and you could literally overhaul a ton with that much capital. But at the same time, if I'm looking at pillars of this club, guys, like, I think like this is who you build around. Yildiz, Chico, Bremer, okay, are all like immediate names that come out. And I'd probably, out of the middle of the park, people are not going to believe it. They're not going to say he's been catching a lot of flack, but Colt Miners and Luca are pillars. They are. That's kind of like the group you got to really look at moving forward. Thuram as well, I'd say, let's go. 20 mil pickup. What are we talking about? Steal there. But again, it's just all about where are you trying to go? What are you trying to do? So this Yildiz thing, I don't like it. And I don't see his value dropping. Like, if anything, it's 80 now. Okay, it could be 150 in another year or 2 years.
So young.
Because he still 100%. Has work to do, and we know that. Right? So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. And I mean, you start looking at some of the guys we picked up, like De Ligt's being brought up in the chat there. We spent 90 on him. And then it was like, I don't know. I liked De Ligt. Took a while to get going, but he was good. He was solid, but I think like Juve's got a wheelhouse purchases. That's a different story that we should stick with. I feel like 50, 60 is the max. I don't think we need to ever start going higher than that. That's just me. Okay. I'm going to ask this question to the chat and you too, Lex. You can only pick 2 players from this current squad. You are building a new franchise. They say, look, you can have your pick of the litter. It's 2 players from Juventus. Who are you picking to start your new franchise?
Only
2 players. 2? Only 2.
Only 2? Oh my goodness. Can't get 4.
2. Only 2.
Okay, 2 for me probably right now. Yildiz and Cambiaso, because Bremer's hurt. Bremer wasn't hurt.
No, Bremer's in the mix too.
He's in the mix too?
Yeah, it's this roster.
Still Yildiz and Cambiaso. I'm agreeing with that still.
Yildiz and Cambiaso. We got Bremer and Yildiz. George refused to do 2. He's going 3. Okay, Yildiz, Duchamp, Bremer. Yildiz, Cambiaso. Yildiz and Bremer, no discussion. Yildiz and Chico. Birthday boy. Maybe Cambiaso. It's not so clear cut, eh? So we got a lot of guys.
It's hard.
This is, for me, is a very, 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 very difficult question. But that's what makes it fun. All right, so Locatelli and Yildiz, a shout there from Mustafa there. Edgar's coming in with Yildiz and Cambiaso. It's crazy for me to not include Cambiaso. It would be crazy not to include Bremer, who's just an absolute rock. And I think I just think he's so underappreciated across Europe.
You want a good center back.
Yeah, and Yildiz, there's something special there. Chico's electrifying. Gun to my head. Cambiaso, I can't say the versatility. This guy does it all, and he is like at the forefront of a lot of our offensive phases too. Does a job defensively. He's just so solid. Cambiaso 100%. And from there, it's a real struggle for me between Yildiz and Bremer.
Same.
Yildiz just has so much left to go, I feel. And he shows you these little flashes here of like just how incredible he can be. I feel like we've scratched the surface. Bremer, a unit. I got to go with Yildiz. Cambiaso and Yildiz. That is tough, though. Bremer, God, that hurts me. That hurts me. Difficult question. Let's just say this. And you know what? You're actually right, Kaushik. Many of our players remain underappreciated. I do believe that's the case. And I do believe that's why you get situations where it looks like disrespect out there when you pull off a victory that shouldn't be as surprising. Okay? But who do you think has the highest ceiling of all our players? Is it flat out Kenan Yildiz? Do you think Chico could be hired? Do you think Savona in the long run could have this spot where he turns into a center back, like many have shifted from fullback to center back and just ends up being one of the best? Let's twist it. Let's have some fun. Of all our current players that have these high ceilings and everything, who do you think ends up with the best career? Yildiz, Chico, like Savona, Cambiaso. Who do you think ends up with the strongest career out of all these gems?
I hope all of them. I hope they all stay. And have a
Well,
great
if we're
career.
talking about hope, yeah, thriving with Juventus, of course. But who do we think's going to have the best career out of all these kind of like younger gems that are around right now?
I feel like it's between Cambiaso and Yildiz for me.
It's the same guys, yeah.
I'm gonna go with Yildiz just for the sake of argument because he's younger and still in the come up. I was actually having a good discussion with my brother about this. I was like, based on the impact when Dybala came to Juve, I was like, do you see like the same type of player? Do you see him like becoming that player? Because we were watching old highlights and I was like, he was just even saying like he was so good, like Dybala back when he first came here. And I know that he's still a few years away, Yildiz, because I pointed out, I was like, I'm not sure if he's like quite there yet. My brother was like, well, he's still a bit younger than the age that Yildiz is now, is younger than when Dybala came in. So I would say Yildiz just because of like, there's so much natural talent there that you just can't like doubt. You know what I mean? Like I know with some young players, there's a question surrounding them, but the way like you watch him play, his technique, his relationship with the ball, like he's already turning heads across Europe, frankly. And I just think there's something really special there still. I don't know. I'm going to go with him for that.
Yeah, I think like just, and it doesn't have to be the team trophies necessarily for greatest career. I mean, like he could win, individual trophies. He could win Serie A MVP. He could win, maybe something bigger. It's accolades, it's performances, it's seasons built upon. Cambiaso, I think he's in the mix. Yildiz or Chico. Chico's got, I think, a ton of potential and whatnot. But I think you tend to lean towards guys that have more overall to their game. And I feel like we barely scratched the surface with Yildiz. I still say if you plop this guy in the 10 centrally, okay, that it's going to unlock everything for this Juve. Yeah. We're going to talk about that in this game today against Venezia because we're going to go through the lineup and I've got some question marks. And I'm looking at Mota and I'm going to talk about the difference between City and then Venezia and how I feel from the outside watching this current Juventus, okay? But I'd probably lean towards Yildiz is going to have one hell of a career, and I hope that, of course, it's with us. We do have to look at the game today, okay? It's Juve, Venezia. We are going to go back in time, take a look at an old school match. I'm going to remind everybody, get those likes up, all right? Hit that like button. Let's get the likes up here. And again, don't forget, we've got the triple kit giveaway. Got to be subscribed. All right. Of course, got to be subscribed. And that's being given away at the Fiorentina match day, end of December. Okay, so good luck to everybody. Now, let's get to it. Back in time, we're going to 2001. Juve Venezia, August 26th. Look at those kits, by the way. My God, these were just stunners. Lotto had some beautiful kits. These are, we'll talk about kits and everything, but hell, we could talk about it now. Where does this rank as far as your home kits? This one was a beauty. It's got to be up there. Got to be up there. Oh, yeah. This is beauty. I like the back, too, with the name sets, the way they worked it. It just, the Fast Web sponsor, low-key, one of the best ones we ever had. I love the kits with the Fast Web on there. I think it's like definitely top 5 sponsors, maybe top 3 for sponsors, and the way it looked, loved it. And the black Cinque Maggio kit, the Fast Web, looked incredible. No box around it. Sony being called out for the best, but man, Fast Web, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Now, we're going to go through this game. Do you know why I chose this match? Do we know why this one was pretty special? The debut of Mr. Nedved. That was his competitive debut with Juventus. Buffon. Ooh. Of course. Kefren's father. Debut. They all came in that summer. Incredible. That was the big move. After, of course, Zidane had left. This was your back-in-time lineup. Look at that. Even Zanoni in there, who's the forgotten man in that summer. Buffon, Thuram, Montero, Besotto, Zanoni, Tudor and Tacchinardi, Zambrotta up ahead as the outside mid with Nedved there. We had our kind of 4-2-4 that we rocked back then. Lippi, of course, coach there. This was, man, they took care of business. I actually watched this. I ended up going back and watching this game, not just like flipping through highlights and stuff, but oh my God, we just handled these fools. Does anybody remember the scoreline? Do you remember the goal scores? Lex, any guesses? Any guesses on the scoreline and who bagged?
Nedved?
Nedved did not score on the debut. Would have been fantastic. He did not.
3-0 win?
Close. We got a 3-0. We got a 4-1 question mark. We got Trez a goal coming out here. I love Trez. Trez is amazing. It was 4-0. It was 4-0 in this one. And you had goals from, of course, we had Trez. He had himself a brace in the first half. Then you had the man himself, ADP. He bagged 2 as well, one in the first half, another one in the second. And honestly, Trez's goal, I think it was his first, either his first or his second, but it was a volley from across, okay, coming over, a long cross, high dropping down, and he just met that thing in stride. Keeper dove, got a piece of it, but it was such a nice goal. And Del Piero could have had 5 goals in this game. It was crazy. He was doing everything up top. I think he hit the crossbar twice. He scored a beautiful free kick. Classic Del Piero fashion. Beautiful stuff. So, that's where we're going back in time. But now we got to start looking at today's matchup between Juve and Venezia. Now, Venezia, they haven't seen a win in 5 games. I'm going to be completely honest, you guys. They're awful, okay? Like, we don't need to bullshit each other, okay? Let's just keep it real here with everybody. They're brutal.
Yeah.
And away from home, it's even worse for them. Di Francesco will also be without Duncan and Sagrado for this particular trip. Raimondo is also said unlikely to feature, but he's got Magnus Kofod Anderson that's supposed to help for Duncan in the midfield. They're apparently going to go with a 3-4-2-1. You know what that means? The wall. We're facing that low block, that wall, which drove us absolutely crazy earlier on in the season. And I said it's going to be a complete flip from what you got. Now the shoe's on the other foot today with Venezia. Get ready for that block. And I don't give a shit about it. I'm going to tell you what we got to do, okay? But for us, you got to build momentum. Take that win from City. You got to go out here. You got to slap these guys around. If you're a serious team and you've got serious aspirations, whatnot, like you've got the bottom place side in Serie A who is awful away from home. We're talking like 17 goals conceded in 8 matches, like away from home. The worst record, I think, only pulling 2 points in away matches. Like, I can't stress this enough. Has to be a multi-goal victory here. Like, get out early and slap them in the face. Take control of this. So, for me, it's simple. The level against City, the same today. I don't care that it's Venezia. I don't care that they're the worst. Like, no. You stay up here where you were against City, and you handle your business. Lex, your thoughts going into this one?
I completely agree. I think we need to go on a winning streak, a serious winning streak. Even just like looking at the table, looking at how tight the top 6 is, we definitely need to get wins under our belts. It's been too long. And like you said, it's about time to use that game that we had midweek, use it as a catalyst, get some momentum, and also beat these guys. It's going to be a different type of game, especially because we scored some nice goals off the counter. So I think that won't be the case today. It'll be a lot more possession based and breaking down the low block. But as you said, Berto, I'd love to see things shake up, like Yildiz in the 10, like something different to try and beat this, because we know already what we're going to be facing, but I don't think that's in the proposed lineup.
Well, how's this for different? Taram McKenny in your pivots. Wow. Woo!
McKenny back in the 11.
Colt Miners. Again, Yildiz. Weah. Chico's going to take a breather. Danilo back at left. I'm going to say this right now. And I gave him, Mota the understanding that in that game, the way it was going to play out against City, I completely understand being robust. Get your 3 midfielders out there. Like, I completely understand that. But there was also a shout at halftime that maybe you should swap Yildiz in there and sacrifice one, because we were holding up so strongly defensively, but we were breaking down in those transitions. But I'm going to tell you right now, you're facing a wall. And even if it's a garbage team or not, you know what you're going to get. You don't need 3 midfielders against Venezia. You don't. There's no reason Mbangula can't play on one of the outsides and Yildiz can't slot in there. And this is a perfect opportunity to actually see that. Mm-hmm. So, and I understand, I completely agree with you, Alex. The lineup is fine for Venezia. No excuses. But you're missing the point. You're missing the point that this team has had a struggle since back in September. That you have to find alternatives. I don't see the need for Colt Miners, Taram, McKenny to all be out there in this game. I really, really don't. I really, really don't. Especially if Colt Miners does the same thing he's been doing, which is anytime you see a 10 traditionally played, and in like 9 out of 10 setups, they are central. He's not. He's literally one of the outside mids. And this is giving me flashbacks to Pirlo's garbage hybrid thing he was trying to do with Aaron Ramsey back in the day. Or who was it besides Ramsey? He tried to do it with a couple guys where he takes them way out from the outside, still gives them all this defensive duty, and tells them, hey, then you're my 10. No, just line it up properly and drop those guys straight down centrally so that they could just make it happen and make it work. Keep them between the lines of the area and centrally and just dropping straight back. Spread out your pivots. Do it like that. This is a perfect opportunity to see something more. One way or another, you better not fucking struggle today. That's all I'm going to say, Lex. You better not struggle today.
Yeah, please, just, I don't care what formation, who's playing where. You got 11 guys out there that just should not struggle against this side.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Also, I forgot Aaron Ramsey existed, so thanks for the memory. Some good flashbacks there.
It's true, though. So, like, it's true in how I see him trying to operate this 10. It's not an actual 10, and I've been saying it forever.
If you watch, you can see, like, there's this massive gap. Like, I don't know if it's, like, vacant space that he wants to leave so people can run into or not, but, like, there is a clear gap. Like, when you watch our transition play and you're like, where's that missing piece? Oh, he's on the wing.
And it leads us to stopping completely over and over and over and just recycling the ball back, and then you're stuck in a complete standstill buildup where you have to come from nothing, absolutely nothing, when you're in a transitional phase.
Yeah, in that City game, there was one moment where Yildiz shifted centrally and he turned his man and broke the line and went. And I was half I don't know, was half paying attention. The camera was far out. I thought it was Koopa. I was like, oh my god, who just did that? I'm like, who just broke the line? And then I looked and I was like, it was Yildiz.
He did it a couple times. He jumped in there. He slotted in there, found pockets. And this is another thing I've been saying, if you all recall, is that this guy needs freedom. Like, even if you're going to play him out on the wing, let him roam. And do that today. So if you want to have your three midfielders, that's fine. I'm cool with that. Just don't pin this guy to the wing because it's completely different. And we had this discussion with Lewis in the chat because he was like, yeah, I get what you're saying about central, but I really like him cutting in from the wing. I said, you liked it because it was a game against City where he was 1v1 against Walker, who's been getting torched for weeks now, and he just added to it. I said, yeah, but you won't like Yildiz when you're getting double teamed, triple teamed on the wing and he's glued to it, which these low blocks will set that up for. So what I'm suggesting is give this guy freedom, let him hit pockets, let him move to where he feels he needs to be to get involved, and use your fullback. In today's game, it'll be Danilo. On the left side is Cambiasso still out. Let him be the one to push and keep that width there, but let that happen. So that way you get the best of everything. We could see Yildiz with that freedom, get in centrally, and you keep your three midfielders safety net, Mota, okay? I heard you in the presser. I don't think Cope Miners is ever going to leave a game or not start a game from here until his entire existence with Juventus and Thiago Motta. The way this guy talks about this player, and I like Cope Miners, and I can see all the intangibles that he brings. And I've been fighting the battle where I don't see all the hate and negativity and, worthless. I don't see that level. But Mota, please, man. Please. Like, you got to understand, there's going to be a moment in time. Every player goes through it. Every player has shitters. You're going to have to sit this guy at some point. But Mota and Cope Miners, holy smokes. We got the next Allegri-Rabiot combination, and it's Mota and Cope Miners.
We should have known when he was, like, waiting and waiting for him to arrive. And remember that video when he showed up and he was like, I've been waiting for you. Mota was like, I've been waiting for you to Coop. And I was like, should have known back then.
Yeah, man. It's going to be something. It's going to be something. But I don't know. There has been a couple moments where Cope Miners' name has been mentioned about potentially being subbed. He won't do it. And to Cope Miners' credit, defensively against City, he worked his bag off and he did so much. He struggled in the first half in transitions. Second half wasn't so much a problem, but everybody else also kind of picked it up second half, definitely in transitions and stuff. So we'll see. McKennie getting in there. I'm fine with it. Thuram, I love what Thuram's doing. Again, just get the job done. I don't care. I don't care. Get the job done. We're going to go through key stats. We're going to talk about the official. And then it's prediction time, everybody. It's going to be time to put our money where our mouths are. FC 25 calling for 1-0. Okay? A 1-0 game where actually the first half saw Venezia have more possession and more chances, but Juve walking away 1-0. And then in the second half, it was all Juve, and we just couldn't bag one, but we still walked away 1-0. I'll tell you what, I don't really care how. I don't really care who. Just has to be 3 points. Key stats, Juve undefeated in their last 23 in Serie A. Juve have won 5 of their last 6 matches against Venezia in all competitions. Venezia have conceded at least 2 goals in 8 of their last 10 matches in Serie A. These guys suck. Seriously. I don't mean to disrespect, but I am. You suck. This has to be a multi-goal victory for me. I'm telling you. Venezia have claimed the fewest points and hold the worst defensive record away from home. Get it done for the faithful at Turin today. Your official, Antonio Guia. 67 Serie B appearances, okay? So he's done more games in Serie B than anywhere else. Oh my goodness. 56 appearances in Serie A. 5 yellow per game average. 19 reds. 25 PKs given. I'm going to say something. And I think we should probably talk about this before we get into predictions. I want to see where the chat stands and where you stand, Lex. You shouldn't have scrubs officiating the big sides in your league, even if they're playing weaker opponents. Take your best group of officials, and they not always, we shouldn't always have that one, rotate them, obviously. Mm-hmm. But it should be your experienced and strongest that do your top 4 or 5 sides. Just because we're playing Venezia, we don't need a Serie B official. I can already see how this could potentially go down.
Yeah.
But again, Alex P's got a great point. They all stink. So, I mean, I don't know. But I think you should take your least stinkiest, let's say, for, the best sides. But again, it is what it is. This guy, 56 matches, 25 PKs. Hopefully, Antonio Guia is not going to be a story. Final score, 2 tiebreakers. Everybody in the chat, fire away. We've already got a 2-0 Juve from Wing of Winter coming in here. We've got 4-0 Juve tonight. Whew, I would love that. Yorio saying we need a 4 or 5-0. I don't know if we need that. We just need a convincing solid victory, and against a low block, all the better, okay? Lex, final score, 2 tiebreakers. What do you got?
2-0. Final score. Tiebreaker is going to be a goal from Yildiz. Okay. Back on the school team today. And a goal for McKenny.
Okay, Big Mac.
Big Mac's back.
Big Mac's back. 2-0 Yildiz and Mac. We've got 2-0 Juve from Dragze. We got 1-0 from Dells going with the FC 25. Okay. 3-0 Juve. 3-0 and Matt's keeping it going with the Gatti header. Law of percentages. You just keep firing away till you get that, okay? I'm with you. Koshik's going 3-1. No clean sheet against this awful away from home Venezia. Hey, okay. 3-0 Juve riding the Champions League high. That needs to be the way. That needs to be the way. 3-0. Does ring up for 4. Oh my God. That was funny. 4-0 center back goal and a PK. Okay. 3-0 Juve from Trim. Weston brace. Yildiz will get the other. Venezia gets a red card. Yeah, with this scrub officiating. Could happen. 4-0 Dushan with a hat trick. Woo! Wow. I honestly was gonna go 2-0. But Lex, you went before me. Take it, so I'm going to be a little bit different. I'm going to push the envelope a bit, and I'm going to say 3-0 Juventus victory. I am going to say that Cope Miners gets a goal in this game. I'm going to say that Yildiz finds a goal in this one. And Danilo on a set piece. All right? So there you go. Yildiz, Cope, and Danilo. How do you like them apples? Dushan will probably bag all the goals now because I didn't call him on one today, but I'm not calling him one. I think he'll do the job of just occupy in this low block, but I think the other guys will come up with something. Yildiz will get one. Cope Miners will probably come in, make a run in, and Danilo off a set piece. Let's go with that. Storm the barn, everybody. We got time. It's time. Lex, do you have anything first off? If not, we could fire away with George's right out of the gate.
Fire away.
All right, George. Do you guys think clubs will send their top guys to the Club World Cup? I do. I do think they will. Number one, we don't know if it's true about the penalization that FIFA's trying to put in there as far as not bring your top guys or not even playing your top guys. But I actually do think they will. I do think they will. If you're looking at Juve in general, it adds a lot to the end of the season, and it extends them being able to take their break. It shortens up our break and everything. Teams that aren't involved will be back home, will be able to relax, recover, prep. But there's a lot to be said about us sorting out ourselves out. There's also an earlier transfer window for Club World Cup teams. So it's almost like it kind of gives you competitive games in a tournament that's not over the top serious, you know, but it gives you these competitive matches to kind of build even more chemistry, etc., and almost a jump on camp. Even if you are going to take a break once that ends, it's still something decent. I actually think we will see top players from the sides. Absolutely. Lex, what do you think?
I think so too. I think, like you said, it's a way to see what you can do with the group at that point. It does unfortunately cut into time off for the guys, so I do feel for them that way.
Injury
But
risk.
yeah, for injuries and everything, and they're off season technically, but there is some seriousness to the competition to a degree. So I do think it's not like it's just friendlies. So I do think that they will bring in their best guys. I hope they do. Just from a more of a selfish perspective, I'd like to see them, but then again, we'll see.
They will. It'll be top guys there. I mean, it's been happening that way, the way the tournament previously was done. I'd expect pretty much the same. Obviously now way more teams involved, etc. But I'm just going to speak to Juve. Juve's definitely, if you haven't noticed, been pushing the envelope, especially with exposure in North America. And this is not to say anything about anywhere else globally. North America has been behind when it comes to football, soccer, as many, call it around here and everything. I still call it football, always have. Soccer over here has obviously historically been down on the list of sports. And by a wide margin. Okay? Mm-hmm. But as of late, it's picked up a lot of steam. You're hearing more and more about the game, and you're starting to see bits and pieces from clubs you would never get a sniff of the news or the media out here, like at all. And now all of a sudden you're starting to get little stories integrated here and there and whatnot, and it's picking up steam, and Juve wants to jump on that. Juve's not the only team that wants to jump on that. Everybody is trying to give themselves big exposure over here where it's starting to pick up steam. Slowly, gradually, over time. And guys have led the way with, it can back to guys like Beckham coming over. Giovinco even you could say him leading a big thing in Toronto. Zlatan coming over. The Messi thing, massive. Absolutely massive. So it's picking up steam. These guys want to jump on the exposure. Again, not to say anything around anywhere else, but they are going to send their best. They're going to want to put on a show. They're going to want to get exposure and show off Juve in the best way possible. That's what it is. So I'm expecting their best. I am. I look forward to it. The AJC meetup is the highlight of the Club World Cup. Let's be serious.
Obviously. Serious. Yes.
Let's be serious. Pierre, yes or no? Does Gatti become a defensive legend in Juve's history? No. I think he'll have a good career and be with Juve. I don't know if he'll reach legend status. He could I could see him maybe being one of those cult guys, but not like a legend. What do you think, Lex?
It's hard. I mean, he's young for center back still. I mean, it depends how the team does overall. Like, legendary status, I think, also has a lot to do with overall accolades won by the group. So I think it just like depends how our project progresses and just how much success we have overall as a team. If he's at the core of that and he plays like he did in the City game, steps up in big matches for us, then sure, I say why not. But again, like I said, it really depends on how we do overall, how the overall success of the club is.
Yeah. Now, it's tough. I mean, to Matt's point, I mean, we all hope he will, but I don't know. I feel he'll be one of those cult guys. That I can see for sure. Thoughts on Italy's World Cup qualifying draw? So I guess it's we got to wait to see what the result of between Italy and Germany is in Nations League to figure out if we're Group A or Group I believe. Is that correct?
I think so.
Pretty sure. I'm just going to pull it up right now. We've got I don't even think they have it up, do they? No, not on this one. Let's take a look at it. I'll pull it up. I felt like losing that game might set you up better, to be honest. Let's see here. I'll find it real quick. I felt like losing it was going to set you up better. So Italy's path, depending on the result, is either Group A with Slovakia, Northern Ireland, and Luxembourg, and then you get Group I if you lose the Italy-Germany matchup, and then it's Norway, Israel, Estonia, Moldova. I mean, I'm fine either way. I don't know, but I almost feel like Group I is probably the way to go. I feel like Northern Ireland is always one of those teams, the way they play, that just are a nightmare for a team that the Azzurri always try to be anyways on the pitch. Slovakia, Luxembourg. I mean, I'm fine either way. Let's be serious. We should be qualifying. But again, how many World Cups have we missed now? And I mean, we should be qualifying.
I don't even want to think about it. It's too much.
Yeah, I'm going to say my thoughts, Warit, are give me either of those groups. And if you can't get in, you do not deserve to be in. Bottom line. Cool with that, Lex?
That sounds great to me.
Yeah, if you can't get in and qualify out of either of those groups, you have no business going to that thing, okay? What should our expectations be for Nico? So Nico back in the squad list today. Holy smokes, he's alive. He's alive.
Oh my goodness. I forgot he was even on our team, I'll be honest. Forgot.
I needed to, I was one of the guys that while he was playing before he got injured, I was like, I don't really know. I'm not really seeing enough. The expectation is the same with everybody. It's the same with everybody that comes back from injury, just that adjustment period. That's it. adjustment period. Let's wait. Let's see as he integrates back in. But I need to see a solid push. I mean, Weah has been contributing here and there, also getting thrown up top. Nico's supposed to be the guy that is going to offer that up top coverage for Vlahovic. That was what all the talk was before he got injured. So pressure's going to be on. Like, we need that coverage. You know?
We need some strong performances. I think he's a support player for now, wherever he slots in that front three, but
he ain't sitting Chico down. That's for damn sure. And it ain't because it's his birthday. He just flat out will not. Like, I'm sorry. Nico will not have the impact that Chico does. I think Nico could be perfect for games like this when you want to rest Chico and you're going to be facing like a box at the back there. Although I feel like that was one of my issues with him. In tight spaces, the decision-making wasn't where it needed to be. But he might have a place that's not originally what the plan was, and that is to play up top as a change-up to Vlahovic. He's also a candidate for a number 10.
Yeah.
And dropping a mid. And Nico does work his ass off defensively too. I'll give him that credit. And I gave him that credit even though I wanted to see more offensively. But he's a prime candidate to play that role if you don't want to use Yildiz for whatever reason, Thiago, okay? Other than driving me absolutely bonkers. But yeah, Nico could fit the bill there. But the expectations, he's got to make an impression. He has to. When you come over, you make moves, and there's big money attached. Like, these guys, they do have to make impressions. Luis, same thing. Let's wait for him to get in there. But you got to make an impression. Bino coming in here. Buongiorno. Alberto and the beautiful Lex. What am I? Chop fucking every time. Okay, chop fucking liver. Chop fucking liver. Unbelievable. All right. If everyone is fit, what is our best starting 11 in your opinion? Lex.
Oof.
Everybody fit. Give me your starting lineup for Juventus.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Cambiaso.
In net?
No. I'll start starting on the left. You're right. Di Gregorio and net, although our goalkeepers are both incredible.
Yeah.
Love them both. So underrated, by the way. Like, wow. Okay. Di Gregorio, Cambiaso, Gatti, Bremer, Savona. Midfield, McKennie.
Savona.
Yildiz in the 10. Locatelli, McKennie, Yildiz in the 10. And then on the wing, Chico on the right.
Oh my goodness.
Son in the middle. The left. Who do I want to put on the left?
Everybody fit.
I don't know.
I'm going to go like this. If everybody's fit.
Wait, why can't I think of...
Di Gregorio, I'll give him the go. I'm happy with either. Di Gregorio, though. Bremer's definitely in there, obviously. I can make the argument for Gatti to be there to put Kalulu as right back and get them all out there and get Cambiaso on the left. But I'd probably go Bremer, Kalulu, Savona, Cambiaso. In the middle, Locatelli, Cope Miners. And then I'd go Yildiz in and that 10 role. I would play Chico, Vlahovic up top.
Who are we putting on the left, Berto?
Yeah.
Who are we putting there? Nico? Like, can he play there?
No. It would, I'd end up, honestly, if you want to get Yildiz there, then you're playing in Bangula. Is that necessarily our best 11? It doesn't become our best 11, does it? On paper.
That's exactly where I got stumped. I was
And
like,
that's
well,
exactly probably what Mota's maybe dealing with. And now we see it, right?
yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's kind of not the best 11 then. On paper or whatever, but it's got to play out a certain way. Mbangula should be getting more minutes, but I don't know if I throw him out there for our best 11. And like I said, even at the back, might go Bremer and Gatti with Kalulu as right back.
Oh,
And then
interesting.
Cambiaso at left there. So I'm going to say Locatelli, Thuram, Cope Miners, Yildiz on the left, Chico on the right, Vlahovic, and that's going to round out my starting 11. But you know what? Today, you don't need three midfielders. I stand firm on that one. Fucking just go with it. Let's just see. You're going to play this low block. You're going to have all this muscle, and you're going to possess the ball like 70% and not need all these mids. I don't know. Are we getting a 9 in January? He's got 2. You're double dipping the chip, Alex Juve. Storm the bar. You're double dipping the chip on everybody else in the chat. We're going to let it slide. No double dipping. Okay. It's all good. It's fine. Are we getting a 9 in January, Lex?
I don't think so. It doesn't look like it. Yeah, that's.
We are getting a 9. His name is Milik. That is your pickup in January when he returns. If he doesn't make it back this month, that'll be your pickup. You know who the other pickup is? Nico Gonzalez. That is back, and that's why he's going to have to make his impression felt or anything, especially if we are going to spend 35 to 40 on David Hancko. Yeah, I think the 9s are going away in January. Let's wait and see. Stranger things have happened, but I'm going to say no. Are Juve season ticket holders able to get first on FIFA Club World Cup ticks as well? That I cannot speak to. I only know about what's going on with the pre-sale for official fan club members. I would anticipate if you're a season ticket holder that you would also get a crack at those in the pre-sale. Check obviously your emails, everything like that. You should get a code, because to the same degree, PSL holders for the stadiums there, those are the tickets that are up for grabs right now on StubHub. So you should, in theory, be offered something like that as well. But I cannot say for sure. Okay? I cannot say for sure. And I think that's it for Storm the Barn right now, you guys. Unless you got another one, it's kind of last call, but we're all in the same boat. Wednesday means nothing if you fucking drop the ball today, and I'm laughing about it because if it happens, I'm gonna shut that watch along down so damn fast, okay? And I'm gonna I don't even know, put my head in a vice, because it'll just blow me away if something like that. That said, I don't anticipate. We're all calling for victories. It needs to be. Let's take care of business. We're at home again. What an atmosphere for that Man City game, though.
Looked amazing. It seriously did.
We got to talk about that. So I heard from multiple people that were at that game. Incredible game to be at. But even just the stadium before for the anthem with the green, white, and red for the Italian colors and the black and white stripes going around it. There was a post on Twitter, and it was actually not one of the bigger accounts around football and whatnot, but it just said what a classy showing from Juventus, and the stadium always wonderful. And the comments in there were amazing. It wasn't actually even Twitter. I think Omer was the one that pointed it out and put it in our feed, and we're reading the comments, and I'm like, that doesn't sound like Twitter at all. It was all positive. It was Juve always class the whole way through, great atmosphere, great place to be at, etc. And then you have, those mutts that post things they stopped the away fans from leaving, whatnot, made them stay there till the bitter end. That's UEFA protocol.
Yeah. I was just gonna say.
Yeah, it's nothing to do with Juve. We didn't make you sit there and enjoy every last second of your defeat. That's just protocol. Stop
Protocol.
crying about it.
Yeah.
We've had to do,
Safety.
our fans have had to do the same traveling, okay?
Yeah.
So just deal with it. Again, though, great atmosphere. I heard that the Curva Sud didn't stop for a second of that game. Jumping nonstop, chanting, singing, everything. If we can dial it in and get the middle sections of that stadium to just get on par with that, you'd have and I don't know why. Like when I went and sat, like we were there central. I was sitting somewhere central, like just closer to our end in the first half. And I was like standing up almost the whole time. Like I'm on the glass and the security's like, get back. Cause I was like first row. So I'm like walking up to the glass, like screaming and like stand there. And they're like, get back. And I'm like, no, leave me alone. Right. I barely sat down. So we got to get all of them chanting, singing, etc. Not just leave it to the Curva. And then we've achieved perfection of what that place can be. Another one. What's the cast travel plans for club? Well, we got to wait till it gets a little bit closer before I figure everything out. But Philly and DC seems to be the play. And it sounds like a lot in Philly. Myself, Lewis, potentially Trim, Lex, potentially Joe Cappuccino, Philly. Philly sounds like the one where probably the majority is all going to be there. There's talks about old man Skanga and Philly too.
Wow.
So, yeah, stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of fun. And yes, Dragons 8, that Curva was on fire today. Hey, no slip-ups, no banana peels after what happened in Champions League. Let's go and let's punch Venezia right in the mouth. Lex, should we just maybe quickly talk about the table before we sign off and
Sure.
some thoughts on some other clubs? Lazio and Fiorentina, you know, you were kind of saying everybody, they're not going to be dropping off. You and Lucci, I believe, were going at it. So we're at 27 points in 6th. We got a 5-point gap. Also, Milan has 1 game in hand on us. So does Bologna. They're both at 22 points. Ahead of us, Lazio, Fiorentina, and Inter all with 31 points. Fiorentina and Inter with 1 game in hand. And then, of course, you have Napoli at 32 points and then Atalanta at 34 points. Obviously, this has to be a win for us and whatnot. But in terms of the other fixtures, Atalanta and Cagliari are at the 54th minute right now. It's 0-0. Shocking.
Yeah.
I still expect Atalanta to pull that one out into 3 points, but that would be a crazy drop. Cagliari's our Coppa Italia opponent right after this game too. So don't put some fear into us now, okay? Napoli, Udinese. Napoli's traveling. Prediction on that one, Lex?
Napoli, Udinese traveling. Oh, well, 1-0 Napoli win. Some sort of,
some sort of grease game. Fest. Lecce and Monza. Who cares? Parma, Hellas Verona. What about this one? Your boy and your new boy, Bologna and Fiorentina. So Italiano, you know, longtime member, longtime coach of Lex FC.
Still there.
With the guy trying to get his job, Palladino.
I know. It's another Lex Derby on our hands here. Yeah.
What do you think happens in that one?
What do I think? I hope it's a thriller. I really do hope it's a good game. Let's say like a, 3-2 Fiorentina or something.
Ooh. Actually, I could see that. Do you know that the odds are like even on that game? Nobody is like, nobody has an edge. It's just flat level. I don't think I've ever seen that. A flat level. So Bologna and Fiorentina, flat level on the odds, plus 170 for both.
Jeez.
Roma and Como. Milan and Genoa. Does Milan slip? Did you see Fonseca's called his guys out? Like he's ready to pull up Futuro Milan, and he's ready to call up anybody if you're not willing to give enough to the cause. And Leao's talking about the mentality being an issue. I don't know what the hell's going on. They beat Real Madrid one week and then it's nothing but problems the next. Like, I don't know what the hell's going on with this team.
I love when he said it was harder to play Cagliari than it was to play Real Madrid because they man mark in the league. So Fonseca was like, so then they had the joke where it was like, who's stronger, Barcelona or Cagliari? And he was like, Cagliari. They AI'd him saying like Cagliari is the strongest club in the world. That was insane.
I don't know
Oh my
what's going on there. What about this one? Lazio and Inter.
Oh, that's going to be a great game. Wow. Oh my
Is
gosh.
Lazio gonna get the job done there?
This is a test. This is a test for Baroni. I think this is like the litmus test of the year. Wow. I mean, they've impressed. I can't lie. I watched them against Ajax in the Europa League, and they look good, man. Top of the table in Europa. I don't know what's going on. They're like quietly doing well. It's scary.
It's I can't help but feel the drop is coming. Is at some point with these clubs,
Yeah.
like it's gonna drop off. I feel like Fiorentina is gonna drop off. I feel like Lazio is gonna drop off. Atalanta, I don't believe will. They're notorious for rough starts, and they get better as it goes. The fact that they started off like that, I think they're. I think Atalanta's not going anywhere. They're not going to drop too much. Lazio and Fiorentina, I'm still on the fence about. Rovella, hey, I took heat even earlier this year, and I'm like, I don't know what you guys, everybody that's coming at me, because I was part of the Rovella hive, and I liked this player, and I thought we got rid of him for absolutely nothing. Why would you do favors for Lazio and Lotito? Rovella is a good midfielder. He's doing a great job.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's interesting too. I was talking to my brother about the Lazio Fiorentina question, and he was saying for him the jury's still out. He was like, if they're still rolling like this in February, he
Yeah.
was like, then I will be concerned. But he was like, right now, I'm still not convinced. So he was like less
Me
convinced as
too.
well. So I thought that was a good that's a good timeline. You know, wait till the new year, wait till you hit the halfway point, then we see. But
Rovella, better than Beans.
oof.
I'm going to tell you right now. One's at the club he went to. Is rolling. The other was supposed to be breaking through. Hasn't. We're still waiting. I told you all. If you haven't watched Fragile, go watch it. That is where I get major concerns that Fagioli doesn't have it up here. It kind of like solidified for me. Hey, I hope I'm wrong, but all signs are pointing to goodbye. Let's see. As for this comment, Cugino Eddie, private bar in Philly, hope to meet up. I'm looking to host some AJC events. We're going to be in touch, my friend. We're going to be in touch. We're going to have a great time. Everybody, go do whatever the hell you do on match day. Okay? Superstitious. If you're superstitious, go do whatever the hell you got to do. For me, it's the same. Family time. Nice little espresso. Okay? Little cafe. Hang out with the girls. And then, girls, it's game time. Okay? Watch along is in effect today. 20 minutes before kickoff. Hope to see you all there. Let's rock it. Lex, what do you do on game days? Anything? For Juve
Honestly,
match days. Could be different than your own personal match days.
yeah, different than my personal match days. Juve match days, I'm just wearing a kit. I always wear a kit.
Oh, yeah. The kit's a must
That's about it.
for match days. And the 15, 16?
Yeah, that's what I got on today.
Great choice. Is there a player on the back of that?
I believe it's Pogba.
Oh, I would have said Dybala.
I
But you
know.
got
I
the
think
Pogba on there. All right.
one of my few not Dybala kits.
Yeah, that's the Pogba we got to remember. You know what, though? We got to talk about kits real quick. You got me on kits now. Just real quick. Everybody in the chat, real quick. How do you feel about when people put legends on the new kits?
It just seems it's like utter woke nonsense. I don't know.
Whoa.
It just doesn't seem like, I don't know. It just feels weird.
So Pino right away, no. George saying, I like it. I feel like, and this is one of the things, I've been burnt on a lot of kits, especially over the past 4 years with players and everything. And you see Dragons 8, not my thing. Forza Juve, don't like it at all. Tuna, it doesn't feel authentic, but it's up to the individual. Of course, up to the individual. Hey, I'm not judging. I'm just saying for me, and Trim and I have talked about this a lot too, because I've got stung on kits and guys get moved and whatever. I don't even know how many Chiesa kits I have now, okay? Probably like 4. But it kind of like, there's a story there at least. You know what I mean? So like even with Pogba, it's like I can go back, I can get a Pogba. Like if I wear one of these latest ones that has Pogba on it, it's like I don't have one of the latest ones Pogba. I never got that, but Trim does. But it's like at least there's a story associated there. It's like, okay, yeah, holy crap, what a brutal return or whatever. But like there was always like this hope, the past. Like there's a story there, you know? Delict, there's a story there. There's, you know, this high-priced young guy that came in, was supposed to be this next thing. He left right when the times got by, but like, there's things there. There's feelings there. There's emotions. Like, if I put a legend on a new kit, there's nothing associated with that particular season, you know? But yeah, you could put Del Piero and have the argument, like Mitch says, he fits on every Juve kit because you see him as Juve.
That's true. I feel like he's the exception.
I don't know. It doesn't like, you gotta be there at that time. Like, I don't know. It's a weird one. It's a funny one, but it got me thinking about it on kits because I was at a point where I was going to say, screw it. This season, I was like, I'm not getting anybody on any of these kits. What I ended up with is, well, I got Kefren Turam on the home. I got Cambiasso on the away. I got Cope Miners on the third.
There you go.
At the end, I want the stories. Hopefully, they're all good with these guys. Turam trending up. Cambiasso, my favorite on the team, personally. And Cope Miners, hopefully he can convince all of you that are against him right now by season's end. Let's see.
It's true. I think this year I'm going to get Cambiasso. I'm going to get a Cambiasso kit. It's been a while since I've gotten a player named kit from Juve. So
I've got a bunch of I've got a few Locatellis. I've got a Gatti. But like Cambiasso, I need Cambiasso on a home.
That's what I want. For some weird
reason to me, it makes a difference. Like, and I need him on a home kit as well. Yildiz, I don't have a Yildiz kit yet, but I will probably put him on one. I still felt like it was too soon. I was like, I gotta wait a bit. But forget. Chico almost made me break the rule. I never get lone players on kits. Chico, I'm ready to get a Chico kit for God's sakes, because we know we're gonna lock that one up. All right. And happy birthday goes out to him. Let's celebrate by beating the piss out of Venezia. Come on, everybody. We'll see you in a few hours for the live watch along. Lex, a pleasure as always. A ton of fun. Great seeing you. Have a great weekend. And I'm sure we'll talk in the team chat, hopefully talking about the win. For tomorrow, post-match, I believe it's myself, Omer, and Paolo, and hopefully a victory show, everybody. But I hope to see you all on the watch along. As always, no matter what, fino alla fine. Forza Juventus. Ciao tutti. Venezia, you're next. Let's go. Let's get the job done. Take care, everybody.